A boy ended up in an aquarium and fell into the pool with a real killer whale. You won't believe what happened next. A pod of orcas swims gracefully out in the sea. They surface and play, almost as if dancing on the water. Whalers watch them closely. They plan to capture one of the orcas and put it in an aquarium to attract more visitors. The sailors approach the pod, cast out their nets, drive one orca away from the others, and trap it. Caught in captivity, the orca lets out mournful cries, as if calling to its kin and begging them for help. The other orcas circle nearby, but they can't set their companion free. On the city square, a boy approaches a stranger and asks her for money to buy a ticket home, saying his mother is lost. The kind woman gives him a little cash. Several other kids do the same. They beg for money to buy food and manage to collect $3. The beggars notice a couple leaving their table at a street cafe with plenty of unfinished dishes left behind. They rush over and grab everything from the table, ignoring the surprised looks of other visitors. On the way, they even manage to snatch a cake from a confectionery truck. The kids head to a skate park, ride around, enjoy the stolen cake, and share stories about their difficult lives. All of them are runaways, homeless children who fled the orphanage. Soon, a police car shows up nearby, and the young thieves scatter immediately. They split into groups to make it harder to catch them. One boy named Jesse hides with his friend Perry inside a building, and there, they notice a massive aquarium. Jesse runs away in terror, but then decides to come back and see who's inside. It turns out to be a huge killer whale. Soon after, the police arrive at the building and arrest the boy. He is sent to meet with a youth officer. They decide to give him one more chance and sentence him to 2 weeks of community work at an amusement park as punishment. If he fails, he'll be sent to a juvenile detention center. Jesse is placed in a foster family, a married couple named Glenn and Annie. The boy remains withdrawn and uninterested in anything, but eventually agrees to have lunch with his foster parents. They show Jesse his room and give him a gift. Left alone, the boy plays his harmonica. The next day, Glenn gives Jesse a bicycle and explains how to get to the amusement park, where the boy must serve his probation. The protagonist arrives and heads straight to the manager, a man named Randolph. The man lives in a small house on the pier. Jesse steps inside and notices models of ships and various marine creatures everywhere. Randolph shows up and gives Jesse his first task. He has to scrub graffiti off the walls of the aquarium. There, the boy once again sees the same orca that had scared him not long ago. He goes outside to watch it in the pool and gazes in awe as it leaps out of the water. Randolph appears behind him and explains that the orca's name is Willie. You have to respect him, and then he'll respect you. Jesse goes back to work and later climbs up to the performance area, where he notices a woman working with 2 sea lions in front of an audience. Her name is Ray, and she's a professional trainer. Jesse watches the show with fascination, and before long he spots Willie again. Ray warns him to be careful around the orca. Back at home, Jesse plays his harmonica again. Glenn comes over and suggests they play baseball together. At first, the boy refuses, but a couple of bucks change his mind. The next day, Jesse goes back to scrubbing the aquarium windows. To make the work more fun, he plays his harmonica. Hearing the tune, Willie swims up to the boy and even starts to echo the sound. Excited, Jesse runs upstairs, closer to the pool, and keeps playing. That's when Ray shows up. She tells the boy that orcas are incredibly smart and kind animals, and asks Jesse for his help. Together, they sort through fish to feed the park's residents. That night, Jesse sneaks out of the house and hurries to the aquarium. There, he plays his harmonica for Willie once again. Suddenly, someone appears in the park. Jesse runs, slips, and accidentally falls into the pool, sinking straight to the bottom. Willie lifts him up and carries him to the surface. Jesse regains consciousness and thanks the orca for saving his life. Randolph spots the boy and offers him a cup of tea. Jesse says that he and Willie respect each other, and Randolph gives him a model of an orca. The man drives Jesse home, where his worried foster parents are waiting. Randolph says he would like to offer Jesse a permanent job at the aquarium. Glenn and Annie agree, but only on the condition that Jesse works only day shifts. The next day, Jesse arrives at work and notices two unfamiliar men near the pool. They're holding Willie in some kind of net and arguing because the orca refuses to be trained. Quietly, Jesse frees Willie from the nets and hides. Randolph notices it, but instead of scolding the boy, he thanks him. The owners of the orca are disappointed because the animal doesn't bring them any profit. Jesse goes to the market to buy the best fish for Willie. There, he runs into his homeless friends. They try to convince Jesse to return to their gang, but the boy refuses. He returns to Willie with the fish he bought and plays harmonica for him. When the orca comes closer, Jesse feeds him the fish. For the first time, Willie allows a person to pet him. He follows Jesse, mirrors his movements, and even tries to communicate with the boy in his own way. Randolph notices this. He calls Ray and says that Willie has found a soulmate. Jesse and Willie play and fool around together. The boy feeds his friend again and invites Ray to do the same, but Willie doesn't want to befriend her. The woman explains that Willie doesn't trust her yet and asks Jesse to train this intelligent animal. Ray wants them to perform various acrobatic tricks for the audience. The next day, while cleaning the aquarium, Jesse hears Willie calling him. The boy communicates with the orca using words and gestures, and soon they become true, close friends. Willie follows all his commands, though sometimes he makes very plaintive sounds. Every day, Jesse rushes to work so he can spend more time with Willie and train his clever friend. They swim together in the pool, and Jesse even rides on the orca's back before reaching out to stroke its tongue. In the evening, Jesse visits the auto repair shop where his foster father works. He notices a photo of Glenn's late mother and suddenly announces that his own birth mother will be coming to see him in a few days. Glenn tries to explain that this isn't true, but the boy loses his temper and runs away. Jesse comes home very late and argues with his foster parents. He goes up to his room and opens the gift they gave him. There he finds a card that says, "Welcome to our home." At that moment, however, Jesse overhears Glenn saying that he can't put up with him any longer. In a fit of rage, the boy smashes the window with his baseball. Glenn and Annie immediately come upstairs. Jesse admits that their argument frightened him very much. The next day, the protagonist once again buys food for Willie. As he feeds the orca with fresh fish, Perry shows up by the pool. He suggests that Jesse leave town with him and go into business. The boy looks at Willie and refuses. Perry walks away, and Jesse opens up to the orca about his difficult life. Soon after, Willie's owners arrive at the aquarium. They see Jesse training the orca and are absolutely thrilled. The men want Willie to repeat his tricks in front of an audience and immediately start excitedly discussing how they could make a fortune with this whale. The next day, many spectators gather at the aquarium. Jesse wants to show the audience a few tricks with Willie, but the orca gets scared by all the people and refuses to follow the boy's commands. He swims up to his friend and lets out plaintive sounds, as if trying to say something in his own language. Jesse begs Willie to calm down and perform at least a couple of tricks, but all his efforts are futile. The crowd shouts, growls, claps, and jeers. Willie swims off into the pool, trying to hide from the noisy spectators. Frustrated, Jesse leaves the park and vents his anger on a trash can. His foster parents find him and try to comfort him, but the boy lashes out, loses his temper, and runs away from everyone who wants to help. Late that evening, Jesse returns to the aquarium, because that's where his only friend lives. He tries to figure out what Willie wants, and the orca even speaks to him in its own language. But sadly, Jesse can't understand his friend. Jesse throws special training bottles into the pool. Willie brings them back, but the boy is still hurt that Willie didn't want to perform for the audience and refuses to play with him. He plans to run away with his street friends, but then he hears the distant songs of other orcas. Jesse climbs higher to see the sea and spots a pod of orcas near the shore. They are singing, and Willie plaintively sings back. Jesse realizes that more than anything, his friend longs to return home. He also notices that Willie's owners are secretly damaging his tank to make it leak. The boy rushes to Randolph and tells him everything. The man explains that the owners have decided to get rid of Willie and cash in on a huge insurance payout because Willie is worth $1 million. Jesse suggests freeing Willie and taking him out to the open sea. Randolph agrees, since this is the only chance to save his life. Ray joins them as well. With the help of a tractor, they place Willie into a special sling. Then they steal Glenn's pickup truck, load the orca onto a trailer, and head toward the ocean. Glenn notices his truck is missing and immediately calls the police. He and Annie also realize that Jesse has disappeared. The news of the missing orca reaches Willie's owner, and he flies into a rage. The main characters rush toward the sea, but a fallen tree blocks their path. As they try to drive around it, their truck slides off the road. No matter how hard they try, they can't get it back on the road. Meanwhile, Jesse's foster parents set out to look for him. The boy calls them, begging for help. When Glenn and Annie finally find the boy, Jesse, with tears in his eyes, pleads with his foster father to save Willie. Glenn agrees, and Jesse hugs him for the first time. With the help of a tow cable, the protagonists manage to pull the truck out of the ditch and continue their journey to the sea. On the way, they even stop at a car wash to spray Willie with water. The real problem, though, is that Willie's owners are already hunting them down. By dawn, just as they reach the pier near the sea, Willie's owners and their men block the road. Glenn looks at Jesse, hesitates for a moment, then steps on the gas and crashes straight through the gates. Finally, Willie is in the sea, but for some reason, he doesn't want to swim. Randolph fears the orca might be weak after spending so long out of the water. Jesse's pursuers catch up with the group, and a fight breaks out. At last, Willie begins to swim. Two boats with fishing nets block his way to keep the orca from reaching the open ocean. Jesse spots the danger, runs along the shore, and calls to Willie. The orca swims into a narrow cove, where the boy tells his friend how much he loves him. Jesse tries to show Willie the way to freedom, but to reach the open sea, the orca must get past a barrier of jagged rocks. Jesse climbs onto the rocky ledge and raises his arm, just like he did during their tricks at the pool. With one powerful leap, Willie gets over the rocks and disappears into the vast ocean, where he reunites with his pod. Jesse embraces his foster parents, and together they head home. Willie is free now, and that's what truly matters.